context of what I'm asking. They will never hear me asking the questions in the final edit. So just so that we know what you're talking about, repeat back the context for me a little bit. And we
You
decided-
think my brain's going to work that good? I didn't sleep all night. Between the normal Sunday night and this on top of it.
I'm sorry, I promise it'll be painless. We'll start easy with just your story. So tell me first your name and your title and the office that you're in.
Okay, Bonnie O'Connor, Vice President of Corporate Accounting, and I'm in the Parsippany office.
Great. And how long have you been with the commercial development team?
I started officially with commercial development in January of 2011, and I started working with them back when they bought our first property, 10th and G, in 2009.
Great. And prior to that, what's your history with Skanska?
I started with Skanska in 1997 as a project accountant, and 5 years or so in, I became a director of project accounting. I was with USA Building, and I was there until 90 through. Cut.
Yep.
Yeah. You can do it. You can say it however many times you need to.
All right. So my history. What were we on with? I did.
You can, and you don't have to repeat.
There, you're happy now.
Yeah.
You don't have to repeat the stuff that we got cleanly, so you can just pick up where you got tripped up. So you were in the middle of where you started in '97 as an accounting on the project, right? You said.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start there again. I started in 1997 as a project accountant for USA Building. About 5 years later, I was promoted to a director of project accounting, and I stayed in that position until I moved over to commercial development.
Okay. So, tell me what you remember about the early days of CD. So you can, for yours, you can go back to that 2009 period when you were kind of helping them and working with them on the side. What was it like in the early days?
The early days were very challenging. There was no one in the business that knew how to do the accounting for a commercial development business. So we were figuring it out, learning, trying to just set up the whole structure of the business. I was specifically focused at the time on the project side, and USA Building Finance Group provided the support for the SG&A and reporting. I was given a job description when I took the position in 2011. That is nothing to do with what we do at all. We just had no idea. It's pretty much been 8 solid years of learning and challenges, and I figure that'll continue another 10 or so years.
Sorry, I'm good now.
There was nothing funny on that.
No,
It's total
Bonnie,
truth.
It was.
Perfect. So, given that climate, why did you decide to make the jump over? Why leave the safe comfort of building and switch over to commercial development, which was a little Wild West?
There was no challenge of building for me anymore. It was the same old, same old. And this was exciting and new, and I've enjoyed it. I probably say a week doesn't go by that I don't learn something new. It's been great so far, and hopefully I get to continue.
How have you seen the group change in that 7 to 9 year span that you've been working with and then for the CD group?
In the beginning, we had no policies, really not many procedures, and we've really formed into a company, and there are procedures, there are practices where I think we're running a lot more established, and it's really come a long way.
And I assume back then you were all of accounting for commercial development?
I was it, yes.
And today?
Today I have, right now, 3 people. I should have 4 people reporting to me. And then that's a good number for now.
Okay. I don't know. Guys, this question, how has your view of Skanska changed with the change in the BU? Sorry, it's my first set on,
Sorry, that's
first
all right.
pass on these questions. My first BU transplant.
Yeah, I don't know if I could think of something to say there,
Can you
really.
think of something positive to say?
No, something, I mean, the only thing is like, when you were in the building world, you didn't know everything else that existed out there.
What do you mean?
Do you know how many calls and emails I got on Friday? What's this email mean about your business, that they're stopping it? People in the rest of the company don't know really
Yeah,
the people in the trenches.
when you're at USA Building, you mean?
And probably civil too,
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain AM in this office who told me how stupid the company was for starting our business.
No, that's on there. Go.
He'll
Chicken run.
remain nameless, don't worry.
Anything's fine, but really.
Sorry.
Okay, so what perspective do you think you've been able to bring to the team from your many years of service on the building side before the developers that came in and started the group might not have necessarily had?
I think I brought a lot of value with knowing how building works, and I think, when the project teams don't understand why building's saying something or trying to do something, why they're doing that, and I think I've been able to help and guide there, as well as when we have certain requirements, I know how they work, and when they don't want to give us that, I can say, yeah, you can do it, and this is how you do it.
I would imagine from what we've seen that the friction that might occur between CD and building, right, is over accounting. Most often it's about, a lot of times, bills, payments, timelines also, and deliverables, but do you think you've been able to smooth some of that specifically because of your knowledge on both sides of how building pays their bills?
I would say accounting has not been the biggest area of issues. I think the problems are more project related and system related, and I've been able to help walk through a lot of that.
Tell me what you remember about 10th and G. So part of this, we'll do a little offshoot on the 10th and G project as well, from the people that worked on it at the time and when it divested. So just kind of tell me about 10th and G, the story of 10th and G from your perspective when you started to work on it through to completion.
10th and G was a great project, and it was interesting for me because I actually worked on both sides. I worked for building on the project, and then I worked for CD on the project. And, the whole setup was done different because it had the church and the parking and then the building, and how we had to track all the costs separately but together. And it was challenging, and it was fun, and it's a beautiful project, and I still like seeing it show up on, what's the show? I can't remember the show.
House of Cards.
Yeah, on House of Cards, so you can cut and edit.
Perfect. Okay. And we kind of did that one already. So I'm going to jump around a little bit to some of these other questions.
I thought I went through my whole
So,
6.
You did great. So, having been here for a long time with CD for most of this is the 10-year anniversary from, you've been here for most of that 10-year block. What personally keeps you here?
I love working for Skanska. I have a great staff. I like our project teams and our office teams, and I enjoy coming to work every day, and I look forward to it.
Good. From where you sit, what do you see happening with our commercial development practice in the U.S. in the next 10 years?
The next 10 years, I think it'll continue to be challenging. No two projects are alike. So from an accounting perspective, we have a lot of challenge. We're always learning. I think some of the changes in the accounting principles will be challenging as well. I'm hoping we grow a lot. I'd like to maybe see us double in size. at least as far as the number of projects. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to see where we go.
All right, Beth.
Any surprises over the course of your time working with CD in a positive way
Or negative.
or negative?
Podster.
No.
I think we can get a little bit more out of Bonnie. Let's see. Let me see the questions real quick. Oh, did we kind of talk about the differences in the businesses with her a little bit? Like a little bit more like what? I know you talked about you weren't surprised and you were happy to do it and you worked on both sides, but what would you say are the biggest differences between how you work now and how you worked then? And we did this with Rob, right? I can't remember.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, it's
It's not.
it's
It
not-
doesn't have to be apples to apples.
now I feel like I'm fighting with IT with that question when I'm trying to get them to understand why, because we're in the middle of an upgrade.
Right.
And trying to make them understand why the same
It
the
won't
same
work.
rules don't apply,
Yeah.
because I don't have customers like they have customers, so I
Yeah.
don't like that question.
Why? That's a
I don't
good
like that.
example. Okay, we don't like that question. You would be great at media training because you're like, I'm not answering that shit. That's great. What was it like in the company? We did a background kind of with Rob. What was Skanska like 10 years ago when you started? Obviously, there was no commercial development group, but can you speak?
20 years ago?
20 years ago. But we're only going back 10 years
Yeah, so that's like
for the video.
hard to remember, because it was pretty much,
Do you think, is there a way you can characterize for people what the market was like when you started with, like, economically? Like, it was the downturn, people thought we were crazy because we were gonna spend all this money on land. Everybody was complaining about
All right,
about
I
not
can do
winning
that.
work, but we were walking around with bags of money. Like maybe you can talk about that a little bit from an accounting standpoint, how it went from being in a business unit that was really affected almost immediately by the economic downturn, whereas you went into
I
the
don't
zone.
know. I was on really making lots of money at building when I left.
Because you were in New York.
Yeah, NYU.
Can we pivot to the fun question?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Because I think you'd have more fun with that.
I have one more for you that's, that on this one,
Not
just
gonna
because
do
you
it.
mentioned it. You mentioned that it's been so much learning because of some of those stuff we've never done, every project is different. What would you say the biggest learning for the practice has been across the first 10 years?
I would say the biggest challenge with learning and where we are is with Skanska AB, accounting and finance, understanding how the business works in the U.S. We have a Skanska accounting manual that's almost 400 pages, and it was written pretty much based on how commercial development is done in the Nordic region. And, it's when we report and the way they set things in place, they really didn't understand business in the U.S. So teaching them, getting them to understand how we work, they don't build core and shell and give large amounts of tenant improvements, for an example, and it's caused a lot of problems. They don't have broker commissions, and just getting them to learn and understand or try to understand how we do business has been quite challenging.
I can go fun, if you guys are ready to go fun. Beth, do you have anything else for
No,
anniversary that you
go.
wanna?
Nope, go ahead.
Okay,